It's the era of T20 cricket, as is evident with the number of T20 leagues that we have across the globe, and another one has mushroomed. This is called the European T20 Premier League, or the ETPL, due to start later this year. And I am delighted to be joined by three very special guests on the program looking ahead to that inaugural edition of the ETPL. I have with me Abhishek Bachchan, of course, Bollywood star and now a sports entrepreneur. He's, of course, the co-founder of ETPL. Alongside him, two Australian legends. One who retired a long time ago in Steve Waugh, two-time World Cup winner, captain extraordinary. Thanks, Steve, for joining us here on India Today. And also next to him is Glenn Maxwell, very popular with Indian audiences with the amount of cricket that he's played here in the IPL. And remember, he also comes in on board, like Steve, as the owner of one of the three franchises in this particular league. Gentlemen, thank you so much for speaking to India Today. I'm going to start with my favorite. That is Steve Waugh. Steve, it's been more than 20 years since you retired from cricket, and all this while in that 2-decade-long period, we saw Steve Waugh, the writer, Steve Waugh, the philanthropist, even Steve Waugh, the entrepreneur. But Steve Waugh, the cricketer, was missing. Glad that you've come back into the cricketing fold as an owner of a franchise here in ETPL. My question to you is, what took you so long to come back to your first love?
Well, I've been pretty busy. You mentioned a few things there. But I have been involved in sport. I was actually in the Australian Olympic team for Beijing and London as a mentor. So I was there for 4 weeks at a time, staying in the village. That was a great experience. Then doing some work with the Australian soccer team or football team, and was with Justin Langer on the Ashes tour about 4 or 5 years ago as well. So I haven't been totally away from sport, but as you say, I've been pursuing my charity in Australia and the one in India. I also work for the Laureus Sport for Good Foundation, which is a global charity. So that's taken a lot of time. But doing some business interest, entrepreneurial, and I have 3 kids and I have a dog, a rabbit, and 3 chickens at home. So life's pretty busy. But this is my first real foray back into, professional cricket.
Well, you're right, Steve. I think, managing 3 kids is a full-time job in itself. But just getting to ETPL, tell me honestly, in cricket here in India, it's a religion, we know. But in Europe, the teams that you'd be involved in, pretty much the countries that are going to be hosting it are Scotland, Ireland, as well as Netherlands. These are teams that are associate nations. They've participated in a few World Cups. But is there enough appetite amongst fans in Europe to actually sustain a franchise-based league?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't. I only get involved in projects I believe in. Ones that can make a difference, leave a legacy, and it's really taken the global game of cricket to Europe. It's been under-resourced, underexposed, and without many opportunities. I think this is a chance to launch cricket in Europe. So many good players there. Over 30 countries in Europe play cricket. There's 3 countries in Europe going to the T20 World Cup coming up. There's the Olympic Games going forward. So there's great opportunities. And I see with these 6 franchises, which are about to be launched in August 26th this year for the European T20. The local players from continental Europe are going to be playing alongside legends of the game. I know our Amsterdam Flames franchise. We have Mitch Marsh as a captain. He's a current T20 captain of Australia. Steve Smith, a legend of the game. We have the current Dutch captain in Scott Edwards. So we have all these mix of players, and I can just only imagine 7 or 8 continental players talking with Steve Smith, Mitch Marsh, and these type of calibre of players and people over a 5 or 6 week period, how quickly that's going to improve their game. So I think this will be the catalyst for cricket in Europe to really take off.
Similar question to you, Abhishek, with a bit of a twist. I spoke to Steve about just the appetite amongst European audience, but let me ask you, appetite amongst cricket fans per se, globally, including Indian franchises, Indian fans as well, because I started the interview by saying that there are so many franchise-based T20 leagues across the globe. My question to you is there enough appetite amongst regular cricket fans also to consume cricket that is being played in Europe?
Well, that's a very interesting question. And the answer to that is, simply put, yes. Because I think the European T20 League is geographically placed in a market which I think does not have enough of professional T20 leagues, doesn't have one at all. This is going to be the first. And I think there's a huge appetite for it. And if you see with Glenn coming on board as one of the captains, you see the kind of quality of players that we have coming. It's going to be a world-class tournament with some of the greats of the sport supporting it. To have somebody like the legendary Steve Waugh come on as one of the owners of the Amsterdam team is a matter of huge honor for the league. And I think there is a wonderful potential in the European market to grow T20 tournament franchise cricket. And I think I'm very, very confident that the league is going to have a very healthy run.
To you, Steve, yet another thing that we've noticed, when it comes to cricket in Europe, especially with associate nations, they've done well on occasions, but predominantly their teams have been made up of expats, from cricketing nations where there is no dearth of talent, whether it is from the subcontinent, whether it is from South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. Now, these are countries that are still the supply line when it comes to cricket in let's say, Netherlands, for example, or other associate nations. How do you groom in-house talent? How do you groom people that are born and brought up in Netherlands or, Ireland to take on cricket where they face competition from other sports as well? Is that something that you think ETPL can do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this will be a starting point, I guess. For us, it's not just about cricket lovers, it's about fans of sport. We're hoping to make a real connection with the fans, to get them engaged in the sport, to make it family days, to have incentives to want to be a part of our franchise. This will get people excited about cricket. I see people travelling all around the world to go and watch the European T20 competition. I can see people from Australia coming to support the Amsterdam Flames, spending a week in the Netherlands or spending a week in Dublin supporting the team. So I think it'll have a global reach as well. So I don't think it's just about people in Europe watching. I think we'll have a global audience. The quality of cricket is going to be as good as any other T20 franchise around the world. And it's truly a global franchise because you've got players from all around the world going to be playing in this league. The Amsterdam Flames, we've got Australian players, we've got Dutch players, and we'll also be looking at players from continental Europe to join that squad.
Fair point, Steve. Let me get Glenn into the conversation. Same question to you, Glenn. Do you think there's enough talent around? You've traveled the globe. Not just talent actually, enough interest there amongst the local population to sustain a cricketing model in Europe?
Of course, but you obviously need a starting point where there is that interest and there is that professionalism that you bring in to hopefully drive the standards to what is international cricket. And I think to have guys with international experience, I think Wade Madsen might be the new captain of Italy, who's played a lot of county cricket in England, has been a wonderful player in their domestic setup for a long period of time. And to have someone with that sort of experience to be able to, I suppose, help the next generation and hopefully motivate the players coming through, it'll only help grow the game. And you've only got to look at the MLC and the impact that that's had on American cricket, the way that they performed at the last T20 World Cup and the challenges that they've, I suppose, overcome in the domestic competition to be able to continue to improve year on year out with the help, I suppose, of the international players that come into the MLC, and they learn off the best, and they're able to help grow their individual games and take that into these major tournaments where they're not overawed by the situation. They're able to go out there and compete with the best, and hopefully that starts to filter through into the domestic programs, and you do get some of that homegrown talent that starts to punch above its weight and can rise and play a huge role in growing the game.
It's interesting. I'm talking about local talent from Europe. I didn't think I'd live to see the day when Italy have qualified for the Cricket World Cup. Remember, they had to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. In fact, they haven't played the last two FIFA World Cup. Abhishek, to you, does that excite you? Because I'm sure when you were planning this league, you were only looking at Ireland, Scotland and Netherlands. Here you have another market to play with, and that's Italy. Does that excite you too?
Well, I'm so happy you've made that comment because when we first started working on the ETPL, when we were doing our research to start with, I was startled to know that Italy even has a cricket team, let alone that, one day they're going to qualify for the World Cup. And that's what excited me. In mainland Europe, I would have guessed that the Netherlands, maybe Germany would have somewhat of a team that can, put up a competitive players. Italy comes out of left field, and here we go. It shows you the potential and the excitement. And, like you said, for the FIFA World Cup, they haven't managed, and they do it for the T20 World Cup. And that's very exciting. That kind of goes to show you where we can build into. It kind of shows you the road ahead. Although we're starting with just 3 countries with 6 teams, with the 3 boards, we do hope to be able to expand to a majority of Europe. I was coincidentally shooting in Poland in September for my current film, and happened to weirdly, and I mean this with respect and humility, we were filming in and around Poland, and I went to Wrocław, one of the bigger cities in Poland, and I actually inaugurated Wrocław's first ever cricket ground, which was very kindly named after my father. And
wow.
I was amazed to see the Polish cricket team come there and play. You would have never thought Poland would show interest in cricket. And I'm not talking about people who are from the subcontinent or of Indian origin or from the Indian diaspora. These were local Polish people wanting to play cricket. And they were very excited to learn about the ETPL and are hoping that, they get an opportunity one day to have a franchise that is representative of Poland. And so I think there's a lot of excitement. And at the end of the day, if I can just lean into, expand on the answer that Glenn just gave, that they're only going to get to play international cricket when they get to interact with the best of the world and learn from the best of the world. I mean, can you imagine in Belfast to have some of the local Belfast boys or the Irish boys getting the opportunity, forget not just to play, but just to maybe sit next to Glenn Maxwell on the team bus and to hear his wisdom and experience and get tips from him. That is, invaluable information and experience. And trust me, it's going to help them. And I'm willing to wager that day isn't too far in the future where you're going to get people from Ireland, Scotland, and Netherlands to start with, put together a very competitive team, and go on to hopefully challenge some of the cricketing superpowers.
I think that's a very interesting story, Abhishek. You talk about Poland out of all the places which has some sort of interest in cricket. I'm just following up on that. We're talking about certain deflection points, certain catalysts for cricket in Europe. Can't be anything bigger than having cricket in the Olympic Games. I know, Europe has a rich history of performing well at the Olympic level. Now that you have cricket in the Olympics, do you think that will further accelerate Europe's participation into cricket?
Absolutely, absolutely. The Olympics is the ultimate stage for sport. And to have your sport being played in the Olympics just gives you a platform which maybe a cricket league might not do. Trust me, being chosen to be an Olympic sport is a huge shot in the arm for the world of cricket, especially in Europe and the Americas. These are all countries which are hyper competitive. And these are all countries which want to be involved in all that they can. And not just Germany and Poland, as I just spoke, apart from France, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Scandinavia has shown interest. And like I said, I think if I have to be realistic, give it about 7 to 10 years, and with the help of the ETPL, I wouldn't be shocked if you're going to see at least 3 to 4 more nations from Europe playing, competitive cricket against the likes of India and Australia.
Okay, finally, I don't think I have too much time left with the 3 of you, but just on a larger subject. Here we are talking about another T20 league But my mind goes to ODI cricket, and that is facing a crisis at the moment. Both to Glenn and Steve. Glenn, I'll start with you on this one. Because you've played both the formats in the recent past. Is there a future for ODI cricket?
Yeah, it's a really hard question. I think we're probably going to end up in a similar way to football, where franchise teams are releasing their players to play internationals at different times, and I still believe that one-day cricket has a market. I'm probably from the era of I grew up with one-day cricket. That was the reason I fell in love with the game and watching my heroes play the game. And I'd hate to see it fall out of the game. I hope that there's still time to have all three formats where, as a cricket purist, you can sort of enjoy the different intricacies of the game that make it so great to watch as a fan. And hopefully there's enough time, and whether they're not stretching the international players too far, and whether they're still able to enjoy the joys of playing in these different wonderful leagues around the world.
Steve, same question to you. I mean, we all remember how good you were in the ODI format, that 87 World Cup, the 1999 World Cup. What do you foresee when it comes to the middle format in cricket at the moment?
Look, I hope it survives, but you don't really know. I mean, there's so much cricket, as you say, being played, competition starting up like our competition. I guess it will put pressure on one-day cricket. But I still hope that there'll be a World Cup for one-day cricket, because every time the World Cup's on, everybody falls in love with one-day cricket again. Then it gets forgotten for a bit, and then it comes back in the World Cup. So maybe it's a format going forward that is not played as much, but there's still World Cups where it's still the pinnacle of that game. I mean, cricket is pretty a unique sport where there's 3 or 4 formats for the same game. I mean, there's 10-over cricket now, there's 20-over cricket, there's 50-over cricket, there's test matches. No other sport has those variations. So at some stage, something's got to give. But I'm hoping it's not going to be one-day cricket, because I've played 325 games. I'm hoping that means something in the future of cricket, or the history of cricket.
Okay, then we'll leave it at that. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us, being so generous with your time. And here's wishing the European T20 Premier League all the very best.